Hello, everyone. Welcome. I Let's start here. I guess let's start here. I want to talk about Superman. Um. Oh man, I had to gather my thoughts. Spent too much time thinking about Comic Con. Superman, James Gunn Superman. I want to give it an 8 out of 10. And that's after two viewings so far, one in IMAX, one normal viewing, and god, the cropping at this Regal, for some reason they usually hit pretty well even for normal viewings, but the cropping was just atrocious on this screen. But either way, the movie, fantastic. I i have nothing really bad to say about the movie. It was exceptional. It was James Gunn, but it was James Gunn showing his love for these characters. And Superman, David Cornsweet, what a talent! What a spectacular actor! Um, yeah, man, he has the look. I am kind of here and there about his voice. You know, not his voice in general. Like, I like his voice; he has a fine voice. Um, but his going from Clark to Superman, you know, uh, I'm not sure I'm hearing the subtleties in it. Maybe it's just his mannerisms are a little different. We honestly don't see him much as the traditional Clark Kent, you know, with the glasses on and stuff. Like, there are plenty of scenes of him as, you know, being called Clark and stuff, but he's with people who know he's Superman and who know he's Clark Kent. Um, but when he's like secret identity mode, like, we don't get too much. I think it's honestly like a total of like 2 minutes. So I'll save that criticism for another time. But I really enjoyed his Clark Kent, actually. Like, that was something that I was a little hesitant about too, because from the trailers, like, all you see is that he has like this disheveled, curly, really nice hair, and he's just like bopping around the crowd on the sidewalk going into the Daily Planet. And it wasn't until I saw it in the context of the movie that I was like, oh, this is actually a really good, a good way to read into this. I was talking with my friend about this, and I was like, the Clark Kent that we see in the Richard Donner films, Christopher Reeve's Clark Kent, he was the very, oh geez, Lois, well, like, I don't really think, and, you know, when he's Superman, he was like, well, hello, Lois, you know, flying, you know, I hope this doesn't turn you away from flying, it's still the safest way to travel, you know, like, very big chested, very confident. And then when he's Clark Kent, he shrinks down, and the way I described him was like the Poindexter, like, old school, like, if you watch a cartoon, it's what they depict a nerd as, you know. That, before we watched the movie, I was talking to my friend David, and I was like, I don't know how they're gonna do Clark Kent, because I feel like that version of Clark Kent doesn't work in modern day, because that version of like a nerd or a dork or just like this, I don't know, this, I don't want to say undesirable dude, because that's, you know, that's messed up, but this this really goofy, kind of dorky portrayal just kind of doesn't exist anymore, you know? Like, when you think of a nerd, like, you just, I guess you think of someone like me, or someone who's just like really book smart, and like I don't know, man. Everyone kind of finds a way to find, we live in a time where everyone has a way to find their way of being attractive. And I feel like it's like completely eclipsed the idea of like what a nerd would like traditionally look like back in the day, Again, very Poindexter, alfalfa looking dorky kid with glasses and suspenders. Like that doesn't exist anymore. Everyone, for the most part, most people have style nowadays, and it's different. So I was like, how are they gonna do this in a society where that? I mean, it's a fictional society, but like it's more modern day based. So like in a society that doesn't exist, and also he is huge. Like one of my problems, and one of the things Christopher Reeves is praised for, is the fact that he is huge. Superman is a huge dude. So is Batman. Batman, I can see get away with it because like rich people have trainers. They're like super buff, whatever. Also, it's like documented that Batman wears like platform boots. Like Bruce Wayne is already like 6'3" or something. And the boots that he wears in his bat suit make him like 6'9", just so he can be like extra overshadowing and terrifying. And not that tall people are terrifying, that's not what I want you to take from that, but it's just, it adds to the fear factor that is Batman. Yeah, so like that's the thing that always, like, one of the things that I can't suspend my disbelief for is like, he is huge. Superman is huge. Clark Kent is huge. Like, unless you Shazam it, right? Totally different character, and then when he's a superhero, he becomes huge and this godlike figure. I was really hard pressed to see what they were gonna do here. And basically, in the small amount of time that we do get with that Clark at the Daily Planet in public, in context of the movie, as I was seeing everything, I was like, holy shit, they did it. It makes sense now. He is just this giant that is clumsy as hell, that is just a goofball, but he's not like this. He doesn't have to be this like dorky little dude that has like a nasally voice and like a higher register or whatever. Like, he is just like, I don't want to say golden retriever energy, because he does show a little more kind of self-awareness and intellect. But like, if you get this guy who is just like huge, like 6'3", 6'4", he has to wear glasses, so who knows what his situation is, but like, assuming he has poor depth perception, no spatial awareness, is clumsy and like super apologetic, and just kind of like, you can tell he grew up on a farm with God-fearing parents and like in Kansas or whatever. Like, he is just this huge giant that is like unaware. He truly is a big dog that is trying to be a lap dog, and that's the way I saw it, at least. And I was like, oh my god, yeah, that works. That I believe. Like, I don't. He's definitely not a pushover. Like, they show it in the movie as well. And I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but we might dip into some spoilers. I'll warn before. There is a scene in the movie where like the sports reporter or whatever is like giving him shit about his writing or whatever, and his mom Clark's mom calls him, and he's talking about Kent, and this sports dude is just talking crap in the background, and he's just like, okay, yeah. And then he says something that he doesn't like about his mom, and he's just like, that's enough, and like keeps walking, or he's like, shut up, and then he keeps walking. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, like, he's not gonna throw a punch, but like, he's not a pushover either, and that's great, because like, the thing about big dogs that think they're lap dogs is that if they want to, they will throw their weight around. And if you're not prepared for that, then you're gonna get knocked over. And so if Clark is like equated to something like that, then yeah, if he turns and he's just like shut up, then you just kind of back off a little bit. You can give him shit from the distance, but because he's not gonna throw a stapler at you. Lois might, but like yeah, Clark really, I don't know. They found a very good sweet spot for me in the cumulative like 4 minutes of screen time that this Clark Kent got. I saw so much personality. I saw so much character coming from him, and that is, I don't know. That says a lot. And it could have been me reading into it the first time around, but like the second time around that I saw it, I was like, holy shit, yeah, like, excuse me, this feels right. David Corn Sweat, nail on the head. And then the rest of the movie, he's Superman. Like, that's awesome. That was one of my big worries, and that's because and the worry stems from Henry Cavill. 1,000%. There's no hiding that. My worry for how is Clark Kent gonna get handled in this universe comes from Henry Cavill. Because before that, I had Tom Welling in Smallville. And when Tom Welling finally got to the point where Lois is like, people are starting to suspect you, you need to change something. And he starts acting like the traditional Clark Kent that we know. I was like, okay, that there's reasoning behind that. There's build up, like that works. Even at the same time, we had, oh my god, why can't Brandon Routh, spectacular Superman, did a way better job in Crisis on Infinite Earths when he was Kingdom Come Superman. Oh, it's so good. Oh, and the suit looked spectacular. Bravo, CW crew. Anyway, yeah, and even Brandon Routh as Clark Kent was a little different. Brandon Routh kind of inherently has this kind of dorky demeanor about him, and he knows how to sell it, like especially when he became the Atom in the CW shows. He was just a big dork, and he got to play with his toys and was super excited, and like I was like, yeah, no wonder we bought it, because he is a huge dork. Like Henry Cavill, also a huge dork, just in a different way. He's just, that man is unreal. There's no going around it. And then, of course, like other variations and stuff, but Henry Cavill was just given nothing. At the end of Man of Steel, oh, Lois, we're going to introduce you to the new reporter. Join us in the bullpen. Lois Lane, Clark Kent, Lois Lane. Miss Lane. Dude, incredibly, he looks like a gym trainer's trainer. Comes in with the tightest button up, and like the glasses do nothing. And he comes in, deepest voice, just melts Lois like butter. Probably melts the entire bullpen like butter, because it's Henry Cavill. And that was one of the things that I just walked away from the Snyderverse being like, I guess we just can't do Clark Kent anymore. But James Gunn rewrote the formula, man. Like, he found that shit in a box in his grandma's basement and was like, oh my god, here it is. And just kind of tailored it to something modern, and to me it was beautiful. To me it was fireworks. That was one of the most impressive things in the movie, because it's hard to sell a character like that and to make sense of it all. And they do make sense of the glasses too. That thing comes in, and it was out in the press and stuff before the movie came out too. That we're touching back on the already documented from the comics hypno glasses that distort Clark's face to the people that are looking at him to look different than what he would otherwise with the glasses off. And that was a chef's kiss combination. They did great. I've been harping on this Clark Kent thing for a long time, but like, it's important, man, because the thing that I really love about this movie that makes it so good is that it is showing Clark Kent. Like, again, he only had about 4 minutes total of like screen time, but like, they didn't have to show messy hair, glasses, you know, stumbling into every room Clark Kent. They just showed Superman being a human being. You know, throughout there is a solid, unwavering through line of Clark Kent and Superman on the same wavelength, just being a good person. Just being a person that wants to do good, that, yeah, when he's wearing this suit, he has an image of being this person to other people, but he is still Clark Kent. He is still dealing with human shit, and he is still fighting human battles of uncertainty, like big-headedness, and like naivete, and just like overall just being messy in times where he thinks like, of course people are gonna understand that I'm just saving people. Why wouldn't they understand that I'm just trying to save lives? And then when he does the mock interview with Lois, well, it's not even a mock interview, it's just an interview. When he does the interview with Lois, she starts, you know, questioning him on the legality of it all, and the like what it means politically, and why he has to be so much more careful in the things that he does all willy-nilly because of how it can be perceived by the public and how it is being perceived. So like that is something that he has to deal with, and that we see like the ramifications of in this movie. And that's what's very impressive to me. That's what makes Superman Superman, because Superman is not what am I trying to say here? In the way that Batman does not consider himself Bruce Wayne, in the way that Bruce Wayne is the mask for Batman, it is the complete opposite for Clark Kent. Almost more like a symbiotic relationship in that sense, but for Clark, I mean, but Clark he doesn't immediately just like see himself as Superman. He doesn't just go, I'm Superman. Hell, he doesn't even say all the time, like, I am Kal-El of Krypton. Like, that is a different person to him. Like, he is Clark Kent. And that means something to him. And that should mean something to all of us, because that is the humanizing part of Superman. Otherwise, you have Homelander. Otherwise, you have Zod. Like, the human element, he was raised as a human. If Goku didn't get bonked on the head and get taken in by Grandpa Gohan, he would have been Vegeta. Like, these are the important parts of these characters that need to be recognized and like showcased, because the fact that Superman is Clark Kent, the fact that he had this family that took him in and raised him to be right and be good and just be in it for people for the sake of others, and like not just like use his power for the sake of others, but just like being a kind person and use his heart for others. That is what Superman is. That is who Clark Kent is. And that gets lost in all of the mess when you try to make a Superman movie. And it is hard to convey sometimes, but like, there was nothing in the Snyderverse. And that's why like these two are so like dynamically opposed. The Snyderverse Superman, the Man of Steel, like it was very, I saw somebody post about it and I kind of took it wrong at first, but like the more I think about it, it's just like, you know, they are kind of trying to be objective about it. The Man of Steel Superman was about isolation and the weight of being seen as a godlike figure and all this. And then James Gunn's Superman is about failure and redemption and hope and just being a human, just being a person. And that is like the big difference. And I also saw someone was saying like every aspect, every angle of Superman should be, it might have actually been one of the comic book writers. Every different angle and aspect of Superman deserves to be shown, deserves attention. And I totally agree. These characters have layers and angles and interpretations. Every work of fiction depends on who's writing it. Right? It doesn't totally depend on what the reader is taking from it. It depends on who's writing it. And so Zack Snyder's universe got a dark Superman who was a god on Earth and was, I don't know, spent 2 seconds being like, I'm just like one of you, and then destroys a city in a battle and then snaps the bad guy's neck. That is a dark Superman. And I still stand on the side that had Henry Cavill gotten to be pushed forward, he would have made the perfect Injustice Superman. That is where I stand. Henry Cavill in Justice League, when he gets resurrected, is my proof of concept for him as Injustice Superman. James Gunn. Think about it. But he is not my Superman. And that sucks because I went like a decade without a solid Superman, you know? Like I would always just go back to the Superman the Animated Series and Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Like I think out of all Superman, that was my Superman. Until I will give it a quick shout out to Tyler Hoechlin. Tyler Hoechlin's Superman in the Superman and Lois TV show was spectacular. I loved seeing that. That was another layer of Superman that I really loved seeing because he embodied the way they wrote that show was insanely good. Like the way that they wrote the Superman character, because he got to spend a good portion of the show as Clark Kent. He got to spend a good portion of the show as Superman. But in the same vein, we got to see both of those sides of him being a father, being a son who lost his mother and no longer has family in Smallville, being someone who goes back to his roots to connect with his community in a different way and connect with the people that he grew up with in a different way, not only as an adult, but as a father. And that was a spectacular, not even that, as a father and a husband, because his relationship with Bitsy Tulloch's Lois Lane, sensational. Watch Superman and Lois. To me, it is a spiritual successor of Smallville. And that speaks volumes in my mind. Anyway, I had a small window where Tyler Hoechlin was my Superman, and he kind of battles the animated series Superman for that, like to this day. Um, but now we have a Superman that is in a bright blue, red, and yellow suit that you can see in any dark or like really muddied or cloudy frame in a movie. He is this bright symbol of hope and safety and comfort in the sky, in a frame, like, and they show it many times, and it's absolutely insane. Like, it is good, and then every interaction with him is so honest and like heartening, and the man saves a squirrel, guys. I'm sorry to spoil that bit, but the man saves a squirrel from getting smushed. Things are happening and he saves a squirrel. Yes. Yes. Nail on the head. And you see how he acts with Lois, even when he's frustrated. Even when he's frustrated, he's not like, I don't know. He's not. There were a couple things I didn't love when he gets frustrated, Lois, but like, I don't know. He's not completely shutting down. He's not coming at her sideways. He's not cursing at her or anything. Like, he is still Clark, who is showing that he's hurt and feeling misunderstood. And Rachel Brosnahan, oh my God, again with talking about perfect casting, this woman can act, and she was just putting on a damn show in this movie. Wow. I had confidence in her when I saw the casting, but just seeing her in the movie was spectacular. What a performance. Like, I can't wait to see more of her. I hope that she just kind of blops in to different movies like Wong in the MCU. Like, I would love that. But them two together, chemistry, beautiful. The banter, beautiful. And them coming at each other, Lois being such a strong personality and Clark just I don't know, he comes off as naive, but also like he has this viewpoint of the world that is just so different from Lois's. She drives and drives and drives until she gets to the truth, and Clark just hopes for a better truth. And that is such an interesting dynamic, especially for a relationship. And you can see that there are some strain in the movie, and they talk about it and they like address it, and it's not just like a passing thing. Like, they address it like a couple of times, but it's just they work so well together. It's so good. It's so good. Kind of started losing my original point. I can't remember where it was. Oh, right. This Superman being like this beautiful symbol of hope and heroism and stuff. And like, when I was watching the Kind of Funny breakdown of the in review, they're saying it's so interesting when you see how people are reacting, because people in this metropolis just don't care. This is how we would expect New York should be after 15 years of Avengers. Like, nobody cares. Everyone's going about their day. People are just watching from a window eating yogurt. Like, well, this thing is happening like 3 blocks away from them. But there is a difference when you watch the movie, how people react to what's going on when Superman is there and fighting to keep everything and everyone from getting damaged or hurt, and when the Justice Gang show up. So Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, and Mr. Terrific. There is a difference when Superman is on the scene and when the Justice Gang is on the scene. And people have this confidence that literally they can sit there and just watch and know that Superman will not let any harm come to them. And then when the Justice Gang gets there, they don't care. There's collateral damage. There's buildings getting destroyed. Like, again, Superman saves a squirrel. Like, this is, not only is he stopping buildings from being damaged, he's stopping people from being hurt. He sees a singular life in the form of a squirrel, in the form of a dog, and he decides to save it. Even the big like kaiju thing that he's fighting, he's trying to save it, and it doesn't go his way, unfortunately. But oh my god, like he's Superman. They put him in a world where for 3 years he's been Superman. Obviously he's been Clark Kent there on Earth for his entire life, but for 3 years he's been out in the world as Superman. And now we are dropped in the middle of this history and seeing how society is reacting to Superman's presence, especially Metropolis. And there is this confidence and this faith and this like assurance that Superman is going to keep this contained and no one's gonna get hurt, or at least like, excuse me, no notable injuries. Oh my god, excuse me. And especially no deaths. And that's a beautiful thing, man. That is a beautiful thing. It is such a beautiful contrast, especially, I keep harping on this, I'm sorry, especially in a direct contradiction to Zack Snyder's Superman. Zack Snyder's Superman levels Metropolis when he is fighting Zod. If anything, Clark levels a city block. Not even buildings. It like he takes it as far underground and away from people as he possibly can. Like, there are subtleties to this Superman movie that I feel are easy to miss, but if you really think about it and you side by side it with the Man of Steel, you see why this movie is doing so insanely well. Like, it is just hope core to the max, but with the understanding that even in a world that this hope exists, this safety net of Superman exists, bad things can still happen. And especially like with the understanding that Superman is a person too, and like he does everything he can to get that across. And I love that. I love that. And there's I keep bouncing around Superman, I'm sorry. In the final episode of Lois and Clark, sorry, not Lois and Clark, Superman and Lois, the CW show with Tyler Hoechlin. Spoilers. Clark announces himself to the world as Superman. He does an interview, and the interviewer is asking him, you know, there are a lot of questions we can ask, but I think really I just want to ask, what would you like the world to know? And they're interviewing him like in the Kent farm kitchen, and he's dressed as Clark Kent. He has, you know, the glasses and everything, and his kids are in the background, and so is Lois. And the only thing he says is, I just want you to know that I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy with faults, who makes mistakes. I want you to know that I'm a husband, I'm a father, and sometimes it's messy, and sometimes it's the most wonderful thing in the world. And I don't know. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why, like, I really love the Superman and Lois TV show, because, like, how earnest they make Superman, and, like, that's how I've always seen him. And they did such a good, like, similar job in this movie, just in a different frame, because he's not a father in this movie, he's just Superman. But, like, he's Superman, and he does his job so well that people might forget that he's like just a dude. And I know that there's this like comfort in putting all your faith into this one thing and being like, this can never fail, so I can sleep soundly. And then when you see that this god has cracks too, it might kind of break your faith a little bit. But it's such an important part of him, and I feel like it's such a relatable part of him, because it is the human element. And God, this movie did it. This movie did it. Oh my God. That was just as spoiler free as I possibly could have made it. And a lot of tangents, but all in all, I definitely say go watch it. Like, I think this is also a theater experience, because days apart, like 4 days apart, is granted it was still opening weekend, but like 4 days apart, I saw the first time on Thursday night in IMAX, which is like technically like preview night, even though there was like a fan screening for like Amazon Prime members and stuff earlier, and then of course press screenings and whatnot. But Thursday night I saw for the first time, IMAX, stadium seating, a bunch of people in there, huge reception. It was great. Like, people were clapping, people were hooting and hollering. It was a good time. My second screening, like 4 days later, still the same thing. It was so good. It was such a good vibe in those rooms, and like all the people wearing Superman shirts and having the popcorn buckets and everything, like, it was great. And now seeing all of the Instagram posts and things on Blusky and stuff, and videos on YouTube, and just like of people being happy that Superman is happy again, is so comforting. It's so good. And especially because it's just like, Superman is a character that we need in the world right now. It speaks to so many things on so many levels, and Fox News really tried to have a field day with it, and then they just got flamed on the internet, and it was kind of hilarious. And then the White House tried doing some stuff, and it was really embarrassing and stupid. But just like, Superman is a character that we need right now. The Superman movie and the messages behind it are things that we need right now in the world climate at the moment. And it's just like, it's just kismet, man. Like, some things line up so well. Some things are timed so well before other things happen that end up making it perfect timing. Before the stars align, a decision is made, and boom, these things come in to balance the scales. And I know, you know, it's fiction versus reality, but fiction is such a strong thing, and it is not to be trifled with. It is not to be underestimated. It is so powerful. Fiction can be so powerful that it ripples into reality in different ways. And that is a beautiful thing about art. And yeah, no, I am so grateful for this Superman movie. I'm so grateful for the generation of kids that have a Superman now. And are gonna see this. And for the love of God, the generation of kids that are now going to have Crypto the Superdog. What a surprising delight of this movie, Crypto the Superdog. Oh God, I'm so glad he was there. His presence was perfect. Oh my God. But those are my thoughts on Superman. Just kind of very like top view thoughts about Superman. I could get more in depth, but I would love to really just like kind of have a conversation and go through the whole movie with someone, rather than just spew on and on for the time being. But yeah, it was a great movie. It was fantastic. I would absolutely see it again for a third time. That was the plan. I wanted to watch this movie like 4 times. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll kill some time when I'm in San Diego and go watch it. But yeah, absolutely. If you can, go to the theater, watch it, feel the energy, watch that movie, support it, because that's one of the big things too. If a movie like this, we watch so much crap, and I am guilty of it too, and I blame the Regal Unlimited Pass for that. But we watch so much crap, and those crap movies get crap sequels. We could take some time to support a good movie in the theater. So definitely do that. And God, I cannot wait to see Superman in something else in the future. James Gunn, like, you did not disappoint, and I'm eternally grateful for that. So having blabbed on for an hour now about San Diego Comic-Con and Superman, I want to talk about the Fantastic Four now. I'm joking. I'm gonna watch it when I'm at Comic-Con, so that's gonna be cool. So expect a video about that.